supporters of Cryptopia, everything crypto and blockchain, brought to you by CryptoLiveLeak. We appreciate you guys joining today's show. Awesome stuff lined up for you guys today. We're going to be interviewing our special guest, Tavonia Evans. She is the founder of Guap Coin. We dive into a multitude of subjects ranging from how she got started, her background, and what kind of things that Guap Coin is doing for the world today. We also dive into some hard-hitting subjects regarding the time and space that we find ourselves in here in America. And I think it's very, very important for you guys to take away a little bit from that conversation just to understand where the Black community stands in regards to crypto and blockchain and the opportunities that we have to bring equality and bring people together. I think this is so awesome. You guys are going to really, really enjoy today's show. We always got those quick little hitters with our crypto app of the week, our crypto coin of the week, and we're going to be talking babe of the week. So stay tuned and let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it!
Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped.
Let's do it.
So let's do this thing!
Let's do this.
All right, Sharif, let's do this. Roger, Matt.
Today's crypto app of the week is Roundly X. You can find it at roundlyx.com. That's RONDLYX.com. For those of you who are familiar with Acorn app, Acorn is an investing app that typically takes leftovers from transactions and rounds it up to the nearest dollar. Then what it does is invest that in stocks. This is the same concept, except it is going to be for your crypto. So any transactions, let's say, for example, you have a transaction that's $2.05. What it will do is it will round up that transaction to $3 and take that 95 cents left over and invest that into crypto. So what it is doing is compiling lump sums at a time where it's storing it and allocating it. And then once it hits a certain marker, I believe it's $45, it will take that and invest that into crypto. So you can link this up to your bank account and have any transaction that you make rounded up. And then what it does is accumulates it and then invest it in crypto by linking up an exchange through the roundlyx.com. So this is a way of using dollar cost averaging to purchase crypto, which is typically the best way to start out investing because you catch the highs and you catch the lows over time. That all averages out. For those of you who don't know, dollar cost averaging is essentially just taking a round number, let's call it $100 for every set period that you have, whether it be 2 weeks, a month, whatever, and it just invests it at the same time frame every month. So same philosophy and same concept as the Acorn app, except instead of dumping those funds into the stock market, what it's doing is it's dumping that into an exchange whereby you can invest that over time. So really cool concept. I thought this was awesome. I'm a big Acorn user. Anyways, and I was like, this is perfect because now I just want my funds, instead of going into the stock market, I want it to go into crypto. If you have not checked out roundlyx.com, take a look at it. Today, folks, we have our Lunar Crush coin of the week, brought to you by Lunar Crush. Today's coin, very special, is our Guap Coin, GUAP. This is an awesome coin. And we're going to be lucky enough to talk to the founder of Guap Coin today. So you guys are going to get a lot more information about that a little bit later. I'm just going to touch on the basics that we weren't able to touch on during our interview. For those of you who don't know what Guap Coin is a decentralized digital coin founded by people of color that can be traded between peers instantly. The primary mission of Guap is to uplift those economic communities that have been left out by the cryptocurrency revolution. As you'll find out later, you'll find the inspiration for why Tavonia was able to make Guap Coin and what she plans on doing with it. Awesome project. The current circulating supply is just under 30 million coins, and the total supply will be 32,771,000 coins once it's all said and done. It is ran on its own blockchain, and you can find it, I believe, through... If you want to listen into the interview a little bit later, she tells us exactly where to go to get Guap Coin and hold it in the wallet. And the current price of Guap Coin is sitting just under a quarter. So it's at 0.243044 cents, I guess you would say that in. So that's what that looks like. Awesome opportunity. And I totally believe in the project and what Tavonia is doing. And take a look at it. Like I said, not financial investment advice, not your financial advisor. This is a project that I believe in personally, and I think its mission is there, and I think the opportunities for growth are extreme. And that was our Lunar Crush coin of the week. Folks, this brings us to our crypto babe of the week.
Swing. Tentpole. She's a babe. Damn.
Crypto babe of the week this week is Andrea Walker. She was born and raised in Oakland, California, and she is the founder of Black Women's Guide to Crypto and Blockchain. For the past 10 years, Andrea has worked with community development banking at Beneficial State Bank and Foundation. She's a board member of East Bay College Fund, which is a nonprofit that helps resilient public school students underrepresented in higher education access to succeed in college, expanding their life opportunities. Andrea is a big believer that Black women benefit from this opportunity because history has shown that early adopters are the largest beneficiaries of the greatest wealth transfers in the past. Andrea is doing an awesome job in the space. She's beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's smart, she's empowering, she's inspiring. I've loved everything about her, just reading about her online. You can find her on LinkedIn, Andrea Walker. Great resource to kind of read about. She has a lot of articles and a lot of videos out there. If you guys are interested in checking her out, I recommend it. She is an absolute babe and she is inspiring. Kudos to Andrea Walker and the work she's doing in her space. I look forward to seeing the progress and what else she's able to accomplish. Hats off to Andrea Walker, our babe of the week.
You're beautiful, it's true.
All right, folks, this is the moment you have all been waiting for. This is our special guest for today. We have Tavonia Evans on today. We're going to dive into some deep stuff, and we're going to learn more about Guap Coin. So stay tuned. All right, we have Tavonia Evans here, creator and founder of Guap Coin. We are so excited to have you on the show today. Appreciate you coming on. How's everything going?
Everything's good. Everything's good.
Awesome. I wanted to talk to you about your project because I have done a little homework and I absolutely love what you are doing. So first of all, can you tell us what is Guap Coin and how did you get it started? And I want to learn a little bit more about your background as well.
Well, I've been in technology for like almost 25 years now.
Okay.
Everything from developer to designer to marketer. I've had to do a little bit of everything because I'm a bit of a kind of an idea person. So I always had to bring my idea from A to Z. You know, just not having the funding, you know, kind of DIY type stuff. So I started out in, I guess you could say like networking and hardware systems, etc. Then I went to designing and graphic design. Then I moved over to web design and development, data analysis, business analysis, and brought me all the way up to blockchain. I think it really started, let me see, back when I launched my platform, Safe to Meet, which was about, let me see, that was back in about 2014. And, you know, with Safe to Meet, I found it very hard to get funding from my project. And I was surprised because it was, you know, it was a great idea. We had put forth an MVP. We had a really good team, but that's when I found out that, you know, Black women didn't get a lot of VC funding or not very little VC funding. So I was kind of shocked about that.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, you know, after all of that, I was like, well, why don't we make our own funding? Why don't we create our own money? Right. That was a part of the whole create our own money thing. I always thought when it came to the Black and brown community that it would serve us better to have some sort of currency to use to support the businesses and stuff in our community. And years ago, I was looking into alternative currencies like the Liberty Dollar and all these other stuff that I saw out there. And I was like, that'd be so great if we could do something like that. I felt like that would give us so much value. And I felt like that was the part that was missing in our community is value. Because when you don't have things and you lose things very quickly, you tend to not value things very much. And when you don't value, it becomes like a vicious cycle. It's hard to accumulate worth.
Right.
It's hard to grow worth because your values are not, you don't have any type of faith in the value system that you are a part of. So that's why I was like, well, we need to have our own currency, because that's something that could help build our trust and our faith and help us to be able to visualize the expansion of wealth in our community. And then of course, blockchain was perfect because it's transparent and you can visualize it. It does give you a tool to be able to see growth in the distribution and et cetera, and to be able to analyze that in terms of numbers. And contrary to popular belief, we're numbers people too. It's just that the numbers look a little bit grim when it comes to us usually. We don't have the good news numbers.
Okay.
So I thought that that would be something that would give us the good news numbers, the values.
Awesome. Now, you are a fellow Georgian native. Are you from Georgia?
No,
Okay.
I was born in Long Island, but I've been in Georgia for 25 years. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
most people already say, well, then you're a fellow Georgian. I love Georgia.
Yeah, I know. I miss it. I grew up there as a kid, pretty much until last year, and I moved up here to Boston. So it's good to
My
hear a
brother
familiar
lives
voice.
in Boston.
What's that?
I have a brother that lives in Boston.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I love Boston. Atlanta, I miss home though. I miss being around Atlanta. It's a great city. And that's awesome. Now, in regards to the community in the Atlanta area, have you primarily just focused Guap Coin in education in that market, or are you expanding across, countries and
Well,
United States?
it's funny because when I first launched back in 2017, I didn't anticipate that most of the people who actually responded quickly were from internationally.
Oh, wow.
So we
Okay.
had a lot of responses from Canada, a lot of responses from the UK, a lot of responses from the continent of Africa. So that's what kind of opened my eyes up to the global possibilities of Guap Coin too.
Right. Now, what was the thing? You obviously saw a lot of value with crypto and blockchain and how you could have a direct impact on your community. Was there anything in particular that you kind of had that aha moment where you were just like, this is the path that I want to go, and this is why I want to enter in the crypto space?
Well, I guess I've always been a person that I see in our community how our culture is leveraged for a lot of different things, but not for us.
Okay.
And so my aha moment was this was our opportunity to leverage something for us.
Awesome.
And I knew that I had to get in, quickly with this before again our support and our thing is kind of leverage for another something else that doesn't necessarily benefit us. So I see a lot of people vying for our participation. So when you see during the ICO phase, like in 2017, you've seen a lot of celebrities being tapped to represent different projects, etc. So I knew that was an attempt to kind of tie into our culture and our viral capabilities to push these projects along.
Okay. Now, for you personally, when it comes to business and going about your life, like what is your why? Why do you wake up every day and do what you do?
Because I want to see people empowered.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see people. I have a belief system that things are intrinsically good.
Okay.
Things are intrinsically available, but I know that circumstances, prevent people from being able to see that reality. So I wake up with the goal of helping others to see the reality that I see, because hopefully I feel like it'll make them feel better, and in feeling better that they'll be able to grow and expand in a way that I've grown and expanded.
Awesome.
So so my goal is to help people to see a vision that's better, a better vision for the future and a better vision for now.
Awesome. Now, what is like one of the biggest hurdles or obstacles that you've had to overcome personally to get to where you are today?
At one point, I would say capital.
Okay.
Because I've always been comfortable with making the capital that I need to support me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a vision, my vision has always been so big.
Right.
And it just happens to have big price tags on it. You know?
That's what happens though when you do big like that, you know?
Right. So, you know, you could, you know, it's never something really small. I tell people that all the time. It's like anytime I want something, the price tag is very high. And, you know, some people would just kind of give up when they hear those numbers. But I don't give up, you know. So,
That's awesome.
You know, that's a little bit of my difference. I know that it'll just take a matter of time for me to get there.
I love that outlook. Now, when it comes to Guap Coin, I saw you're doing a lot of education around it, whether it be getting student organizations involved and teach them about what crypto is and what Guap Coin can do. What are your future plans on growing Guap Coin to expanding that?
Well, my future plans is to use this network I just launched. I just launched a social network that we currently now have 3,000 members and growing, and there's a bit of a buzz going on. And I realized that that could be my perfect education platform to educate people about things that, you know, financial education, crypto education, etc. Because you want to be able to do these things, and you know you got to do them freely. And one of the problems that I run into, again, is that everything I do has a price tag. So if I want to do teaching seminars or webinars, I got to book places that are very expensive and, you know, stuff like that. Sometimes you can look out and you can go into the community and teach there. But I feel like there's certain segments that you got to hit first and you got to hit to kind of gain that, you know, bit of attraction and support so that you can fund the rest of everything else. So, you know, when you shoot high, it's costly, you know, for a higher platform. So, but I've made it my mission that anybody who books me or wants me, I'm there. You know what I mean? If you get me there, you know, you won't really have to worry about, you know, the cost or anything like that. You just get me there and I'm there to teach.
Awesome. And I think from all the people that I've spoken with, education seems to be like one of the biggest things about getting people, the masses, to adopt crypto and blockchain in general. And do you see this as kind of a generational shift where we're trying to get the younger generations to learn about this stuff so that their future can be impacted? Or do you see this as trying to target everyone, to get everybody educated?
I think honestly, I don't think the younger people need the education as much because they're using it. My son is 16 years old and he knew a lot about cryptocurrency way before a lot of other people. And he's a game developer too. So, you know, but that's how they are. They're very matter of fact about it. It's the older people that, you know, and not even the old, but the mid-age, the baby boomers, you know, late 30s. These are the people that really need to be educated about this. And because, you know, my grandmother is like 97 years old and I don't have to educate her. I talk to her about it. She knows. She's like, okay, when can we start using Guap Coin? So
that's awesome.
They're on a different level when it comes to that. But the baby boomers, you know, they're very, very suspect. They don't trust, you know, anything. So, you know, they're a hard sell, you know. But, so, and they're the ones that are the parents and the grandparents of other generations that need to be, you know, onboarded onto this.
Right. That's awesome. I want to kind of shift gears back over to Guap Coin. And now that we kind of have an idea of your story and how you got started, when it comes to Guap Coin, what was the problem that you saw that you wanted to solve?
I saw us kind of having a black hole for literally and figuratively in data. Because when it comes to data and how it's skewed and how it represents, and I know how powerful data is because it translates into money. And us not having being very conscious participants in that process, and analyzing data and seeing financial data, et cetera, and how it relates to us. How does financial data relate to me as a Black woman? When we're looking at things like the stock market and stuff like that, we're not seeing that. That's not what we're seeing. So therefore, we're not really interested. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I want us to be able to look at some data and see the growth and see the traction and see the movement, and know that this is a result of something that we spearheaded,
Right.
with a catalyst of. Because of course, Guap Coin is not going to be just limited to Black and brown people, but we feel a certain way by being the ones that have spearheaded this financial movement.
Right. And I think that is so important, and I love seeing that, because coming from where the position that I'm in, like I want to help and serve Black communities to advance their causes, and I think this is such an awesome way to be able to do that and do it independently and not have to rely on others. And that's what you've done, is you've shown you are a leader in this space, and I applaud you. And you inspire me, because I think there's so many great entrepreneurs out there like yourself, and if we can spread this love around the world, like you can see the future and what's coming of it, and it's an equal future for everybody and anybody. And I think it's so empowering. So I absolutely applaud you, Tavonia, for everything you've done with Guap Coin. Now, I want to kind of get a little bit more into the specifics of it. I know you started out building the blockchain off of Ethereum, and then you have since shifted onto your own blockchain.
Yes.
Tell us about maybe some of the use cases. Where do you plan on using Guap Coin? Is it more of an investment tool? Is it going to be a day-to-day thing? What does that look like?
Definitely a day-to-day. And
Okay.
that's absolutely necessary. In order to build the kind of value that we want to build and raise the value and the consciousness of people, they have to be using this every day in ways that they usually use it. And that's just buying and making purchases and, trading, exchanging services and stuff like that. That's the most important thing to me about this. And that's actually the heart of Bitcoin. Prior to the whole exchange bit and everything else, Bitcoin was created to be an alternative to our current financial system. So it wasn't necessarily created to be an investment token or tool, but that's what it wound up being. But it gave birth to other projects that are now able to keep the purity of that, and to again provide more alternatives to our current financial system, and to provide a way for us to transact with one another in a way that we can identify with, and we feel, we feel connected to.
Yeah.
So you're speaking with your money, so to speak.
Awesome. And I saw you have like staking with Guap Coin.
Yes.
Where did you see that idea, or was it something where you're just like, I gotta have this?
Well, we were trying to tackle the problem initially of how do we keep the vested interest, or how do we preserve the mission of what we're trying to do. And it was presented that we should use masternodes and masternode coin. So that was like the best advice ever, because yes, we were able to acquire nearly 100 masternode owners who are people of color, who have a vested interest in this mission, and they have a substantial amount of coins that they're staking and being rewarded for it at that. And they have voting rights. So this was like the perfect scenario, the perfect situation.
Right.
And that's what got us down the line of staking and just, really having an investment in it, because I felt like if we went to proof of work, we're out machined when it comes to proof of work. We're out, you have people that own machines, own mining, own the industry. So that's the same thing. So we were totally outpaced in that world. So we wouldn't really have the effect that we have now if we had used that as our algorithm.
Now, what do you see as your like biggest competitors in the space? Is it other altcoins? What does that kind of look like from your position?
I see at the current time, I don't look at it much as competitive as people think. I look at it as helpers.
Okay.
Bitcoin has definitely been a helper because as Bitcoin expands, people want to know more about Guap Coin. So that's been very helpful. And there are a lot of other altcoins on the market, but I think that because we were brave enough to come out with what we really, were who we're really trying to help, because it's a brave thing. It's like a lot of people wanted to do some things to make an impact on our community, but they felt like they couldn't come out and say that. They felt like, if I come out and say that I'm trying to help Black and brown people, that I'll be targeted, I'll be attacked, I'll be this, I'll be that. So we'll try to kind of slip our way in there, and then maybe. But our core premise from day one has been this. So in that case, we kind of put ourselves in a cubby hole by ourselves.
Right.
So I don't really look at too much competition at all.
That's interesting. I like that viewpoint. I think that comes from your heart. And I think that's your mission, is you want to be a helper and you want to see advancements inside of your community. I think that's powerful. Now, when it comes to like cryptocurrency and the industry itself, what do you think it needs more of? Is it entrepreneurs like yourself? Is it more developers? What, in your opinion, do you see just with your story and how you've got started?
I would say that it just needs more utility, more use, more focus on use and utility, more focus on everyday use, more focus on the common people. Again, that's what Bitcoin was made for. You know what I mean?
Right.
Great. There was a lot of technologies that came out of it, but we've also found that most people came out with the technology that they were claiming to do were not successful in doing it. And you're talking about like literally over 80% of the whole industry. They've had white papers, they've had great grand ideas, but they weren't really able to really, bring to market these ideas, And I think that maybe later on that would be the case. Some ideas, they're kind of way far ahead of its time, but so it's not to say that they're just bad ideas, but I remember going to a bunch of functions in the beginning, and the question they would ask is what problem you're trying to solve. And people who were really just trying to solve real regular problems were overlooked and like, oh, that's not nothing. That's not big tech. That's not high tech. We're talking about, we're trying to solve the problem of getting to the Mars tomorrow with this coin. You know what I mean? All of these great quote unquote technologies. How can we carry data and smaller data packets and, all of this. But there's like, no, that's not what Bitcoin was created for.
Right.
So let's get back to the heart of it. And that's the people.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make a better financial condition for each and every person on earth.
I love that. Now, where can people go to get Guap Coin? Is it on exchanges? How does that work?
Well, we're on Probit now,
okay.
Which is a really great exchange. I mean, I say great because I've had a great experience dealing with the people. Okay. I've dealt with about 30, 40 exchanges that I didn't have great experiences with up until this point. And I didn't feel comfortable sending people there to get anything. So, but Probit was very, very good and very speedy and supportive. So that's where we're starting. I'm also currently in the process of launching an exchange as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, so
that's
I've been
exciting.
working on it for a while. Because of all of the roadblocks I faced dealing with the exchanges that are out there and the lack of trust, I was like, no one I know is going to trust these people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hey,
with their money.
Right. If you don't like what you see, sometimes you got to do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where I was. And I was like, it's a big learning curve and we need simple interfaces, but we also need accessibility. And even with, I had my recent rant with Coinbase recently and its algorithms. And I've been attempting to buy large amounts of Bitcoin on Coinbase for a very long time and have been very unsuccessful with getting past their suspicious algorithms. And I have a problem with that. So I'm not going to send anybody there neither, because it's frustrating. I mean, if somebody goes through all of that, they're like, why am I doing this? I'm like, I might as well stay with the dollar and the current banking system that I have. There's a reason why people are underbanked and unbanked, and they're going to go to another situation where they're going to be under cryptoed now. You know, that's not a good thing, you know?
Right.
So until we get better with these algorithms and stop treating people like criminals, that's not going to work.
Right. Now, what is, I guess, your biggest fear when it comes to where the industry is heading? Is it centralization of certain institutions like Coinbase, where they control certain things? Is it the big banks getting involved with this? What are some of your biggest fears when it comes to the future of crypto and Guap Coin?
That used to be a fear of mine, but I've learned so much being behind the scenes in this technology to know that it's just not going to work. They can keep trying, but if you're going to keep trying to bring the old system into the new, it's not going to work. The old system is crumbling right now, you know? So you attach yourself to the old system, likely you're going to have a lot of problems as well.
Right.
And stuff. So I don't think it's going to work. I think that they'll have their niche maybe in dealing with high net worth people who are holding a lot of crypto. They're going to make a lot of world for themselves. You know, people who are holding a lot of Bitcoin and stuff like that, they're going to make a little corner for themselves. But when it comes to the general people, it's not going to work.
Right. Interesting. Now, I do want to shift gears again here to kind of where we're at here in America. Obviously, you being a woman of color and me being of a Caucasian male, I want to have an open, candid conversation with you, because I want to understand and I want to learn from the Black community to better understand how and what I can do as a white man living in America, having known the history of this country and how it was built and the horrific way that racism has been graved in stone in a lot of the institutions. The Black Lives Matter movement is making an impact and has been making an impact, but what can I do as a white man to help serve that movement or help serve you in your community?
Well, I think that what can be done is to open up and support the efforts for us to quote unquote the problem solvers, the people who are solving the problems, because it's almost impossible at this point for you to actually sit in the midst of it and experience it. You're going to see glimpses of it. Honestly, a lot of Black people don't even realize what we've been through. They if you go through something every day and you're accepted as your everyday as a status quo, you may not even realize what's happening to you or what you're going through. And I've been through that myself. I've been in tech for a very long time, and I just thought things were hunky-dory until I tried to actually do something, you know, till I actually tried to put out a platform. Then I realized, whoa, there's a limit to how far I can go with this, you know, and then your eyes start to open. So, and that's something that's taken 25 years for me. So it's not something that just, you know, a white person can come in and see exactly what's going on. But there are a lot of people of color who are putting forth solutions and even technological solutions. I know so many brilliant Black people in tech, it's not even funny. And they have so many brilliant ideas and things that they want to do to help. And they've been trying to push these ideas for a very long time. And their problem is the very same thing as mine, is access to capital. So if it's not access to capital, it's the laws, you know? So for instance, I'll use an example. Everybody got in on the ICOs early on, right? So now we have all this regulation uncertainty, and you have all of this regulation hardening and all this other stuff. So now when you get people like me who get in, we can't do anything. We can't make it. We can't raise any funds. We got to now register with this person, that person, this person, spend a whole bunch of money on legal at things and stuff like that. And we don't even have, we're already behind. So you have the rest of the industry that has raised hundreds and millions of dollars. And here we come in trying to raise funds, now we are subjected to all of the legal scrutiny that these people did not have to be subjected to. So again, in yet another space, we're struggling to get to, the basics. And I'll use an example. I'm, currently now we're in our first exchange, but we spent the last couple of years getting in exchange or trying to get in exchanges, and it was very, very expensive. But if you raise $100 million in the first ICO, it's instant entry into an exchange for you. Mm-hmm. It's instant trading. It's instant access to resources. It's instant access to this. So yet again, there's a huge digital divide between what I can do and what other people have been able to do. So we need regulation certainty. We do need that, but we also need some type of sandboxing or something like that will allow us to expand in these technological areas as well, without having to now be faced with all of these legal hurdles, the SEC, the this, the that. And, the SEC has traditionally been probably the biggest thorn in our sides, because you're talking about raising money and raising capital. You got to be an accredited investor. But now you have programs where they allow us to invest now, thanks to some of the acts that have been passed as of recently. But it's still very limited. I can still only do this, X amount of dollars in something to be technically considered an accredited investor. But if the average, even above middle class person in my community is only making $100,000 to $200,000 a year, they're still not qualified to be an accredited investor. You know what I mean? Wow. So if you have Black projects that come up and they need people like this who say, hey, I can afford to invest $10,000 in your project. I want equity, or I want this, but I'm not an accredited investor. So I'm only limited to investing $1,500 in your project. Yeah. So we're in the same legal boat as people who make way more money than we do.
How do you change that? What is it that we as people together could do to change that? Is it voting? Is it lobbying? What does that look like from your position?
Well, it's definitely a combination of things: lobbying, voting, making awareness, presenting solutions, etc. Those are all things, because you're talking about an area, yet again, our community knows very little about. So of course there ain't going to be too many people in our community lobbying for those things. You know what I mean? So if you don't know that you're being X'd out of a certain, whatever, then, you don't know. But that could be the very thing that is working against you. You know what I mean? Because if we're not getting people, quote unquote, accredited investors, which are going to be typically white males, to invest in our projects, then our projects ain't going to go nowhere, because our people can't even invest in our projects.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's, it's like, it's necessary. It's like, we don't necessarily want your VC money, but how do we get, able to use the money that's in our community to push forward our projects?
Right. Now, when it comes to just in general, what would you like to see from the white community when it comes to fighting racism? Is it standing side by side? Is it support? And if so, what ways? What are you kind of seeing?
I see that we all have to divest in racist industries and racist everything. We have to divest. When we see something that is not working right, the only way to get it to work right is to divest in that scene, and to not, and that was an example of that, I think, is what, Minneapolis, there was a police program that was, I think they were working with the schools or something, and they said, no, they canceled that contract. Yep. Said, no, when you take away stuff like that, then people start to look for changes. People want to make changes. So when you divest in certain things, and people, if you're not supporting if you start supporting a business that has been, for instance, You know, there's been instances where people go to work for a particular company and they're not getting the pay rate as the average person is getting, you know. So this person may be making $25 an hour and somebody in the same position is making 35, 45 or up. These things can be easily analyzed through data that's submitted, publicly available. So if these salaries are not matching up, then this company has a problem. You know what I mean? And we have to stop funding these companies that are not paying people what they're worth, and they're paying people, you know, in these lines. So we have to look at things like that. Then things like that should be transparent enough to know that there's a problem within this company, and these are racist substructures that are existent and been existing for a very long time.
Right.
You know, we also need to even out representation, you know, in terms of when it comes to law, when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to you know, any type of local government, et cetera, you know, and even anything that deals with the school system, you know, because the school system are still the residue of redlining, you know, and not getting properly funded. So, you know, all of these things are the closest we can do things about, because there is visible data, you know, and it affects a wide spectrum of people, you know. But when you pull back funding from different things, then people tend to make different decisions. You know, they're like, oh, okay, we have to X, Y, Z. We got to look at some of our policies, and we have to change some of our policies. And these things may seem small, but because this is a systemic thing, this is working from the system inside out.
Wow. Now, when you look at different cities, obviously Atlanta is completely cut differently than some other cities around, you know, the nation. And that's what I love about the community there, is that you can see the empowerment and of the Black community there in Atlanta, and it is part of the heart and soul of that city, and I love that aspect of it. Now, when it comes to other cities, how big of an impact do you think will crypto have an impact on these systemic changes that need to happen, or is this going to be something where it is completely separate outside of the current legal systems and that kind of stuff?
When you're talking about, again, penetrating and raising the values of people, raising their level of pride in a thing, you know, in a system, they can see that it works. That is what makes a huge impact, and it gets passed down generationally. You know, so it doesn't matter if it's Atlanta with crypto or if it's Mississippi with crypto. It's the same premises. When you go to these places, you still see, on a micro level, you still see small businesses, people attempting to be small business people. They come from all over. You can go to Ghana and see more small businesses than you've ever seen in your life, you know. And these people understand money, and they understand trade, and they understand commerce. And when you introduce something that makes it easier, makes it more identifiable with them, you know, this is only going to help them thrive even more. So, you know, so it doesn't really make a difference, I think, crypto-wise, where it is, because they're really running with crypto in Africa. So in other places, in third world countries, you know, they're looking at cryptocurrency. I think that this is the one thing that can penetrate without a steep learning curve. The steep learning curve that we have in crypto now comes from the crypto beginnings, how, you know, the investment community got in, the finance community got in, the stock market got involved. That made this way more complex than it needs to be. So now when you hear the average conversation about crypto, you're hearing about futures, you're hearing about, you know, a bunch of things that are over people's heads.
Right.
You know, you turn on the news, you hear about crypto, you're hearing about the stock market.
Right.
So it's to the point that the average person thinks that Bitcoin is a stock, and that they have to invest and get a stock and get a share in Bitcoin. So this is a problem.
Right. Well, I appreciate you addressing those, because like I said, I think I am on a quest of knowledge, and I want to learn and understand so that I can be part of this to help serve your mission and the Black community, because I feel like growing up, I had so many friends that were African American, and I cherish those relationships. I had mentors, and it is so unfair the way this country has been set up. And I want to see a new future. So I'm so happy to have you here on the show to be able to talk to about these things, because I think these are the conversations that we need to have as people. Just human to human, is we need to have these kind of conversations, because if change is going to happen, this is where it starts.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get into the fire round real quick. These are kind of some fun questions for you to get to know you a little bit better. What is one person, place, or thing that has had the biggest impact on you in your life?
One person that has had the biggest impact in me, I would have to say my mother.
Okay.
Definitely my mother.
Awesome. And why is that?
Because she is the structure. Like I how to function a lot in business and everything I do. I would have to say that was implanted in me by my mother.
Awesome. Now, what is one food that you cannot live without?
Oh my God, that's so hard. That is so hard. Oh, no, you hit me with such, because I'm a foodie.
Okay. Well, how about this? What's your favorite restaurant then in the Atlanta area?
Oh, that's super hard too. Okay. Wow, that's so hard. Okay, I love Virgil's Geechee restaurant. I love them. Shout out to Virgil's.
Yeah.
I love seafood. So I'm always on the lookout for a good seafood place.
Okay.
So I think, and yesterday I had a really good one, but I can't remember. It was a first time seafood and things. I think that's what they're called.
Okay.
But, oh my God, and the indicator on Snapfinger, very good. Wow. Thank you guys. So I'm a seafood person. Yes, I grew up. When you're from New York, we eat a lot of seafood. Is like the luxury of New York. That's just living.
Right.
So I love seafood, and especially fresh seafood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So shrimps. I don't think I could live without shrimps and lobster. All these other little nice good things. I can whatever, Okay. I love broccoli.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, all right, what is the most used app on your phone?
Ooh, my app. I have I got an app that I developed a couple of years ago, which is actually in like a little divination tool, an advisor. So I use my app sometimes when I want to either yes or no, or a deeper little insight into a decision I need to make. So, and I'm gonna re-release it. It's not. I took it off public to update it, but I always put it on my phone because I need it. Like I need water.
Right.
So that, and now my Guap Coin wallet is very much used a lot. I'm constantly sending Guap Coin to people, and I use my BitPay wallet a lot for my Bitcoin.
Okay.
And I use all of these Slack, all of these chat channels that I'm constantly having to answer. So yeah, I use a lot of those.
Okay. Very good. Now, do you have a favorite podcast or a movie that you've watched that you love?
Ooh, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but to be honest, I'm not committed. I'm just busy sometimes that I forget that I like this podcast and I need to go listen to it.
Right.
So I'll hear it and then I'll forget about it and then go doing 10,000 other things that I'm doing. But in terms of movies, I'm a sci-fi buff. So anything that comes out sci-fi, I'm like, me and my son. He's a sci-fi buff too. So he usually tells me the latest movie that I have to see, and then we're gonna all go see that movie. So anything sci-fi, we're at it. But my favorite movie is dang, I can't even. I have such a bad memory. And I've seen this movie like a gazillion times. Like Interstellar. I love Interstellar.
Oh yes, with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
That's
that
actually
movie.
my 16-year-old's favorite movie too. So him and he's a musician, so he plays the theme song to Interstellar
Ah,
all the time. Yeah.
okay. Awesome. I love that movie. All right, last question of the fire round here. Are you a gamer? And if so, what? All right, all
Yes.
right. I love it. I love it. What is your favorite game that you play?
I play VR all like
Oh, okay.
I gotta get 2 hours on my Oculus a day. I have
Okay.
um
Awesome.
my favorite is Beat Saber, of course.
Okay.
But in any type of beat games I love.
Yeah.
I love I'm going to get into Half-Life Alex, which I haven't. I've been setting up my gaming computer so that I can get into that because my son is like, Ma, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. My son is also a game developer.
Okay.
And,
Awesome.
I also have a VR company and I'm developing VR games too. So in a VR environment for my social network. So
Wow.
I think VR, XR, or augmented reality, of course, is the now, not even the future. So I'm
Right.
so excited about it. So every game that comes out, I buy it, I play it. So I
Right.
have everything. Like I just try everything. But I really like a lot of the workout games because I don't get a chance to work out as much when I'm on the computer. And I think they make you work out. They trick you into working out because you're
Right.
having so much fun gaming that is like,
Yeah.
ah. But yes, I am a gamer. I love games.
That's awesome. You have your hands in a lot of things. This is
Yeah.
great. I'm very excited for you and everything that you're working on now. Where can people go to reach out to you to find out more about you? What's a good spot for them to go?
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on New. You can
Okay.
find me, which is my platform. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. If you really want to get to know me, my alter ego is Aquarius Maximus. So you find me on Aquarius Maximus, you probably know a lot more about me than the average person does. I have a pretty big following under that alter ego.
Okay.
But that's the futuristic tech astrologer.
Okay. Okay.
But but you can find me on Instagram under Crypto Diva or Aquarius Maximus if you're lucky.
Awesome. Tavonia Evans, this has been so awesome. You are amazing. You are absolute inspiration for me and so many others out there. I appreciate you coming on today. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. I cannot explain how powerful that conversation was to be able to sit there and talk with the founder of Guap Coin, Tavonia Evans. I hope you guys were able to take away a lot from that. I think this is a starting point for so many people right now is to just have a conversation. And me as a white person, I want to reach out and candidly understand and empathize and stand next to people of color in the black community because I feel like it is so important to bring equality through crypto and blockchain to everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. We look at everyone as a human being. We're all in this together and let's advance everyone together. There's no reason why we should have a rigged system for things set up for different people to not get the opportunities that they should. And I believe that crypto and blockchain is doing that. Hats off once again to Tavonia Evans. She's doing great work inside the community there in Atlanta and across the world. As you heard, her impact is worldwide and just a very powerful person to talk to. And I am very, very inspired by her. So awesome show today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Get a little nuggets that you can take home, whether it's our app, whether it's our coin of the week, whether it's listening to me talk to Tavonia. I hope you guys enjoyed that and stay tuned for next week. I don't know what special guest we're going to whip up, but we are going to try to get someone else on next week's show. Stay tuned. And if you have not liked, subscribed, please go do so. We're on YouTube. I think the button right there. If you wouldn't mind giving us a subscribe, thumbs up if you liked it, leave some comments. Always trying to check those out for you guys. Twitter and Instagram, CryptoLiveLeak, and our sister company, Block Relations. Check them out as well. They are the dot connectors. They are the bridge builders, building opportunities between the spaces, between industries, between people. That's what we do. We are CryptoLiveLeak. We are Block Relations. We hope you guys come back next week, and I look forward to seeing you again. Over and out.